Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia, rate, review, subscribe. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, we appreciate that. All those who have done so already. Syracuse loses in embarrassing fashion to Pitt as they sweep the Orange 96-76, the most points they've scored against Syracuse since 1993. Some of you weren't even born. Cuse falls to 7-4 and 1-3 in the ACC. You'll hear from us. We'll hear from you in fan feedback. And as of right now, Syracuse will face Miami this Tuesday at 7 p.m. We will tell you what we think about that. What's up, Joe?
Not much, man. What's going on?
So, live streams. I have so much fun doing these live streams. I wish I could do them more often. I know that, I had a couple people request on Saturday. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, you know what? I got time to do it. I'll do it. So if I can do it, I'm going to do it regardless if it's on Yes or not. If people want to show up and hang out, great. If not, then it is what it is. The late ones are tough. I've been asked to do, a 9 o'clock one, and that's tough. That's tough. I get up at 5 in the morning, and that 9 o'clock game is getting watched from the bed, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm old. What can I say? So we'll try to do some of these, get Joe in on them, and we'll have a little bit of fun.
I need a little bit of more of a heads up.
Yeah, that one they've mostly been spontaneous. So
I know.
It's none of them have been planned. So there's that. But we'll have to try to plan some of these, and we'll endure the pain together on the live stream. So I mean. So I found out about 2 seconds ago, the Syracuse football team is getting a new receiver coach, Terry Samuels. Joe, what can you tell us about Terry Samuels?
Terry Samuel was receiver coach this past year at UNLV, but the 9 seasons before that, he was at Michigan State. Had a little bit of I think he said 5 receivers get drafted in the 9 years that he was there for Michigan State. 6 have landed obvious active NFL roster spots. He was also the coach at Michigan State that recruited Tristan Jackson originally to Michigan State. So Michigan State's had some decent receivers, and here's a guy that's got a little bit of obviously experience. He's got a little bit of experience as well. It might be 15 some odd years ago, but he has in the past done special teams type stuff as well. So who knows if this is kind of part of replacing Justin Lustig, because he was the guy that did special teams and he was the receiver coach. So
yeah, he wore a lot of hats.
Yeah, so maybe he's just a receiver coach, and hopefully that's going to help out a bit. And honestly, just looking at the transfer portal, when I found this out, I said, okay, well, he's coming from another team. Let's just kind of check out the transfer portal to see, because obviously this guy is the one that's recruited him. And been with them. So I checked out UNLV. UNLV's got 3 receivers that are hitting the transfer portal, and Michigan State has got 2. So out of the 5 of those, 4 of them are 3-star receivers. So, and they're all, he didn't recruit the guys at UNLV, but he coached there. But the Michigan State, the 2 guys he did recruit there. So who knows? Maybe there's something there to where we can get a transfer portal just because of a relationship and kind of bolster that receiving crew. But
could use some help there. So
yeah, and you never know, because it could help too as well. I'm not saying that Justin Lustig hasn't done a good job, because we have had good receivers in the past, and obviously past year or so was a little rough. But just to have a guy come in and just strictly be receivers coach and be pretty good recruiter in that position, then hopefully that's going to help out that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, it is time for the pain. We're going to bring the pain with Pitt. First, Let's hear what Coach had to say after the 96-76 loss against Pitt last night.
You know, we hung in there at the end of the first half. We came back. In the second half, we came out and couldn't get any stops. Not just rebounding. We couldn't stop them. They just did whatever they wanted inside. They made some key threes when they had to, but we could not get stops. Offensively, we had some opportunities. We missed some layups early in the run when they made their run. We missed 2 or 3 easy shots around the basket. But we haven't made anything from the three-point line for a while now, and we just haven't been consistent there the whole year, and that's obviously hurting our offense. But defensively, this was a defensive game, and we got no stops, and we're going to have to find some way to be better defensively going forward. They got it inside too easily. When they missed, they got it and put it back. But it was, really every position struggled. The forward position struggled, the guard position, every position. We struggled at every position defensively. Really the whole second half, a little bit in the first half, but the whole second half. Just complete team breakdown defensively. He hasn't played well overall. He's had a couple good games, but Kadari has not played well coming in his opportunities, so it's not like we have a viable alternative. People are leaving Kadari open, and he's not able to make open shots yet, and it's hard to get to the basket when they don't play you. Joe does a good job of getting us into our offense. He's done a really good job of that. But he's struggled. He hasn't made shots like we know he can, and he hasn't he's gotten in the lane and hasn't been able to make a play in there. He's just struggled. But really both guys have struggled. And, they both need to play better.
Where do you look for answers on defense? You can't make a trade.
We don't have an answer. We're playing the best group we have, and we're going to continue to play them and hope that we get better. This was a bad day. You can have those. We've kind of avoided that. We've been in every game. This is the first game, and we were ahead at halftime, so it wasn't like we were out of it in the beginning. But you're going to have a game like this, I think, during the course of the year. It's unfortunate, but we're 4 games into the league season. We've got to just put this behind us. We've got to try to get better defensively with who we have.
All right, the Coach Montage is brought to us by BetOnline.net. Now, look, who saw the Bills going to the AFC Championship? I did. I saw it. Now, if the Browns beat the Bills, they get to play again at home, and you're going to have fans there. Those 6,700 fans or whatever.
The Browns beat the Chiefs.
What did I say? The Bill? Yeah, if the Browns beat the Chiefs, then the Bills get another home game. It does not look like it right now.
I'll see you in Missouri next week.
It does not look like it right now. So, if you can't get to a game this year, you could still get in on all of the action at BetOnline. BetOnline's going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on everything imaginable this season, from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coach and props. BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. Head over to BetOnline today. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR to take advantage of all of the great sign-up bonuses. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. Okay. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And I almost didn't even do this because I was so pissed yesterday. I was so pissed. I have not been this Cuse pissed in quite some time, bro. It was
Since Liberty.
Since Liberty. Yeah, that might have been one. So the good, we said that Syracuse had to get to the line and do a much better job there, and they did. 19 for 22, 86%, really good. Syracuse shot 40% overall from the field, really good. They were actually 24 for 45 from 2, 53%. Q, double-double, 12 rebounds, 18 points. Griffin, a career high, 28 points, his high in an orange uniform. The bad, 13% from 3 for the Orange, 3 for 22. That's an embarrassing performance. And it just is just piling on from behind the arc of poor performances. So, guys, Joe Girard, he's got to evolve into something more than just a guy who occasionally hits threes. He was 0 for 3 from 3, 0 for 4 from the field. He had the lowest offensive rating in the entire game, according to Ken Pom, with a 52. The lowest offensive rating for Pitt, just to juxtapose that, was 98, and that was Cole. What the hell's his name? I said this to myself earlier, and I had it.
It's Koulibaly, Sean.
Koulibaly, that's right. I knew that. I was just testing you out, Joe. He had a 98. Joe's 2 points came from the line. He has to get to the line. We talked about this. If he's not scoring from behind the arc, the dude's got to get to the line to contribute to this team. Otherwise, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to be mean, but he's a I don't want to say he's useless, but he's not doing much. Is that fair?
A liability?
He's a liability. Yeah, that's a good word. He's a liability. He wasn't the only one with a poor shooting performance, obviously, as we all saw. Buddy went 0 for 8 from distance. He just did a couple of things that just make it the sting isn't as bad. So, it is what it is. And last of the bad, I want to be clear, and I'm not blaming the loss on this, but you cannot tell me that this game was officiated well in the slightest. A poorly officiated game. And a little bit lopsided on the kinds of fouls that weren't or were being called. So we can get into that a little bit later. The ugly, when I heard Champagne was warming up, I knew that it was not going to be good. Unless he was going to play, limited minutes, it wasn't going to be good. And that's obviously, we all know what happened. He played 34 minutes, 16 rebounds, and 24 points in those 34 minutes, and he killed us. He killed us dead. That led to negative 12 in the glass for Syracuse, which leads me to this. Syracuse sits 185th in total rebounding percentage at 45 in the last 3 games. I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just being realistic. Any kind of bubble talk or anything like that should probably be quelled immediately. Immediately, this team has no answer in the low post without Stevie or another center stepping up to fill that void. I'm not seeing it. We're not even seeing it be tried out there. So, Joe, Syracuse drops to 61st in the net rankings and 51st in KenPom rankings. Mm-hmm. Pitt's starting guards combined for 43 points. Ours combined for 14 points. We're getting slaughtered on defense. What's your thoughts?
Thanks, bud.
Take over.
Obviously, we have issues with rebounding. It looks like if we don't figure out something, again, he said that we don't have an answer. So unless it's Sidibe, then I think we just we have what we have, and just the effort on the boards and on defense is just going to have to get better. And he's going to have to give other people opportunities in game to do that. Obviously, this isn't a good matchup for Joe Girard and Buddy Boeheim. Being guarded by Audis, Tony, and Xavier Johnson all game obviously proved to be too much for them in 2 different games that they've already played. So
yeah, they shut them down.
Not a great matchup for us.
No.
Really at all is this Pittsburgh team. But again, to what Boeheim was saying, it just too easy. The buckets were too easy. 64 second half points. They still had 18 second chance points when they did miss, and they shot 10 more free throws and made 7 more than we did. Plus, they shot better from the 3-point line. They had one guy that was hitting them pretty much, and he shot 5 of 10, and we just couldn't get a guy there. So I don't know. Right now, at this point, I don't care about offense.
I'm not worried about offense. I mean, if you listen to Coach's presser, he makes some good points. This wasn't an offensive loss, despite the poor shooting, but we did great from 2. But you remember when they were at the end of okay.
They shot 40% from 2. I mean, it was better.
It's better. That's pretty good. I mean, I'll take it. It would get the job done.
It's better than the 13.6 from 3, right?
Yeah. So, do you remember when they were approaching the end of the first half? We were down. They made that run to get up by 5. It was from being aggressive. It was from getting inside, feeding Guerrier, feeding Mark, and getting it done down low with that stuff and getting to the line. And obviously, they didn't do a whole lot of that in the second half. And when we were down, started to get down quickly. Well, then that's always a recipe for just frustration. And they had their way with the defense. It was a huge problem.
And that's right. And that's the thing is that you saw different things. I saw 2 different plays where it looked like pretty easily the ball was, off of them and it wasn't. And the bounces in the ball really was, our luck really didn't go our way in this game, on top of the fact of a lot of the ticky-tack calls. I'll go with it every single time that we play Pittsburgh or I see Pittsburgh play. That Xavier Johnson fouls out twice. They just don't call it. Mm-hmm. So, he's pushing Dolezaj when he's trying to, pick him. He's hand checking Joe so he can't get by him. And that's in the off chance that he actually does make a move to be able to get like kind of the upper hand on him. And they just don't call it. But then you see some of the other ticky-tacks that they call. That's why Jim Boeheim got the technical. He basically was just screaming. Everybody heard it. They didn't call that all game. And then all of a sudden you want to call it. So it was just a frustration tee. And really, other than Quincy and Alan Griffin, nobody else was really efficient. I guess Mark did all right.
Yeah,
Mark was a lot more. Talked about him being more aggressive, and he was. But we got to be able to hit the threes, man. We got to.
But yeah, see, that was Buddy's thing. If Buddy hits a couple of those threes, he has a decent game. If he goes 2 for 8,
right,
he has a decent game. It's not 0 for 8, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. You're talking about.
Well, and you have to do something about it. Buddy played the whole game.
Yeah, he did. He's the only one.
I know that he made some adjustments and went in there and he went 4 for 4 inside the lane. And, that's where you got to go with that. And he went 0 for 8 between him and Joe, they were 0 for 11 from the 3-point line. You got to be able to get guys in there. And realistically, at the end, it looked like they were either gassed or they were just out of it. We've been good at stopping, just hucking up threes and taking bad shots and doing what we need to do. But it seemed like for a minute there, it got out of hand. We still had plenty of time to kind of grind it out. And instead we just kept taking bad shot after bad shot, and they were scoring every single time. So it just got out of hand really, really quick. And that's just what it is. You're looking at probably what would have happened if Justin Champagne if he played the first game.
Yeah. And, we came in, I came into last show checking their SB Nation site for Pitt, and it was saying that Coach Capel was saying that Champagne was doing better than expected in his recovery, but still, there was inclination there that he plays cards tight to his chest, looks like everybody does, and there was no indication there that he was going to go against Syracuse, and then you see him warming up, and you're like, oh, F. Yeah, it was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, the Pitt preview right out the window.
Yep, that's right, because I said, it doesn't look like he's going to play, and there he comes. It's the first thing I thought of. So, anyways, there's plenty to talk about, plenty more to talk about. We'll get into that right now with you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, y'all know what to do. I'm surprised you're still doing it. I really appreciate it. Everybody going to the socials at the end of every game, me asking for your thoughts, and you actually putting them there. And some people are taking the time to actually put some thoughtful stuff in there, and I appreciate that. So, Jake on Facebook. This one not so much, but still. Good thing Woody Newton got in for 12 seconds. Him and Edwards played for less than a minute. And you got Edwards in there.
It was 2 minutes.
Was it?
The last 2 minutes.
Was it?
2 minutes.
Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, you got Jesse Edwards going in for Dole. Picks up 4 fouls. Jesse Edwards in there. He goes up, he misses a layup, and then he fouls coming down, trying to grab the rebound, right? So it's like, you feel for him. He makes that. He gets to stay in. We got Dolezaj we need to keep in the game, and he's got 4 fouls. Like, that's the problem. That's the problem. He coach puts him in, and he immediately screws up. And everybody knows what's going to happen when we see that, right? So, Mahir Top Fan on Facebook. He's got a lengthy one. He goes on a little bit of a rant. I'm going to hit as much of it as I can. He says, where do I start? Boeheim needs a kick in the butt. Yeah, I get we don't have Sidibe, but why aren't we playing Edwards or Bull? Well, we talked about Edwards, but he did. Was that fair? I mean, we could make a conversation about that, right, Joe? Was it fair to pull him as quick as we did? I don't know. Why are they here if they're not ready? I feel for these poor kids. Gerard, liability. Love how Guerrier is the best player out on the floor, yet no plays run for him. He barely touches the ball in the second half. You lash out at reporters for asking questions. I love Boeheim, but how do you possibly justify Woody coming in the waning 2 minutes? He went from not playing because of isolation to all of a sudden he can play. Buddy was gassed, airballed 2 threes and had no legs. Poor kid needed a breather. You ride a six-man rotation and then throw on a press. These kids can't handle it. It killed them and whatever energy they had left. They clearly tried. 64 points in a half. 64, yeah. Some of the officiating was bad, and Jim took one with the T, but come on. So he goes on for a little bit, but
yeah,
look, but
he hit up a bunch of good points.
Yeah, so the press came late, and I mean, you could talk about they were too gassed to even do it, and that's probably a factor, but it came a little too late for me. I expected it to come earlier. I don't know why they weren't, but. I want to see, and I'm with the rest of the fans on this because I was playing coach's side, and I was kind of just not really taking his side, but listening to what he was saying as far as the center stuff goes, right? So I'm at the point now where I want to see it with my own eyes, not 15 seconds or a minute of Edwards coming in, making a mistake, and getting yanked. I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to see it for some significant minutes. I know he's saying he's going to play the best guys, but at some point, man, we got to get these kids some in-game experience. I'm waiting for Frank to come back too. Obviously, he would be the next man up, I think. And when he comes back, Joe, I would hope that coach plays him.
Yeah, to me it's tough. I don't really understand it because last year Jesse Edwards played more than this when we had Sidibe. So again, it's one of those things where I'm kind of right there with you. I'm with Coach when it comes to obviously what he sees in practice and all that kind of stuff, right? But
right.
At some point, you get enough of a sample size in a game to understand that practice doesn't always translate to the games. And we need to start changing some stuff up. And if people can't defend, then they can't defend. I mean, I know Alan Griffin had 28 points, but how many times was it his guy who got loose and got open, or he didn't box out Champagne, or you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of these things where it seems like we're trading offense for defense, and we just can't do that. I mean, I brought that up with about Joe Girard, and it's kind of the same thing, but we're kind of stuck. And Coach hit up on this as well because you see how they guard Kadari Richmond when he's in there. They know that he can't shoot threes. So Kadari Richmond kind of exposes us on offense and makes it very difficult for offense when he's in, but he does help defense. So
yeah, tremendously too on defense, bro.
Look, if I had the answer, I'd be a coach. So I can only really come out with my opinion, with my opinions and everything like that. But again, coach is going to play who he's going to play. He's not going to justify playing somebody and just, I'm going to throw Jesse Edwards out there for 20 minutes just to show the fans. He's trying to win games.
I know. He's not going to do it to prove a point, and that's the thing. He's not going to do it to prove a point, to be like to show fans, because let's be honest, he doesn't give a crap what we think. Doesn't give a crap what the reporters think. He's going to play. Yeah. He's going to coach the game that he thinks he needs to coach to win.
Right. And the worst thing about it is Pittsburgh isn't the biggest team in the ACC by any means.
No. Justin Champagne is extremely talented, man.
Oh yeah.
What a freaking athlete, though. I mean, You got to hand it to the kid. He's carried that team on his back that game for a lot of it. Those two guards did a great job too. I mean,
They almost had 4 players with 20 points.
No, they killed us. They just straight up killed us. I did have someone tell me though, someone that many of you would know, but I'm not going to mention their name. They said to me that I love Coach Boeheim, but I'm questioning some of these things now, which I never used to do, and something along those lines. And I mean, look, I think it's legit to question some of these things at this point. And I don't think it's being a bad fan. I don't think it's being a disloyal idiot. I just think it's, you want to win. You want to see something different. You want to see something else tried because we're getting killed now. What is going to be the difference? We get killed worse?
And it's the same thing, right?
It's the same thing.
If Buddy and Joe were in there draining threes every game, then it would be justified. And you'd be able to give up that whole offense versus defense, a little bit of what we do give up. But you're giving up something on defense, and on top of that, you're not making your shots. It just optics looks bad. On top of the fact that as much as people, I mean, whether it's coach, whether it's, I don't know, obviously haters they don't mind, but the people that stick up for him, obviously I think that Buddy is a Division I. I think he's an ACC player. I'm not saying all that, but it just looks bad when you're going 0 for 8 from the 3. I mean, that's what you're supposed to really be known for, and you play all 40 minutes and we give up those many points. And I'm not just saying it's just one person, because obviously, but it looks bad because of his last name.
Yeah, it does. It looks bad.
People are always going to question it if Buddy's doing bad and coach is keeping him in there, they are always going to put it to the whole nepotism conversation. And that's what they're going to look at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's getting minutes because it's his son. Yeah.
Right. And there's people that are always going to go that route, right? And then on top of that, there's the whole, okay, well, I look at it like, damn, I mean, Sidibe, you saw him last year. We were coming in planning to have this center, and I think it would have looked completely different. But now we don't have him. But you have these other fans that are like, okay, well, we still have 3 other centers on our roster. Where are they?
Yeah.
We're getting out rebounded. We're getting beat up down low. Where are they? How many body parts does Mark have to lose before we just start throwing 3-piece or different centers in there, right? Just to see what happens. Yeah. Because at some point we're going to have to do it, whether he likes it or not, because we just continue. I mean, this is how many games in a row that we got beat by 15, like on the boards, minus Georgetown. It's ACC play is kind of, we can see the writing on the wall. We see how we lose, and if there's nothing to be done, then it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, Joe. If we don't get Sidibe in there, I got a feeling. I'm sold that it's going to be a long season. I'm the bubble talk. I don't want to hear nothing about bubbles. I just want to have a winning record at this point.
Yeah,
and
he just got ousted by bracketology this week. ESPN's bracketology after that loss. So
yeah, I mean, it's a gauntlet from the next 8 games. Ugh. It's a gauntlet, dude.
And if we get some consistency where we don't miss any practices and we don't miss any games, and we can kind of maybe put some stuff together, then maybe there will be a little bit of development and stuff like that. Because everyone's dealing with it, but everyone has their own little schedules and their own little hiccups and how many games they miss, how many days they miss, right? So
yeah, we still got 2 makeup games to do: Wake Forest and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So
and every state's different, right? So
yeah,
we can't really compare. You can say everyone's dealing with it, but if different teams from different states are dealing with different protocols, and we were in the whole 14 days, I'll guarantee you that not every single team is dealing with the 14 days quarantine. So
no, they're not, but they changed that, so that's different now in New York.
Well, they changed it after we already did it twice.
I know, true. But I think everybody's pretty close to the same. Anyways, Mahir, great comments. I'm sorry we can't hit them all. I wish I could, but you just sparked a 10-minute conversation, so we're behind now.
Sorry.
At MF Brightside, no toughness, no discipline, and poor effort. He is losing the team by not playing the best guys. Also appalling they cannot give one of the 3 backup centers any time. Mara cannot defend and rebound with ACC 5s. I mean, that's, yeah. That's, to piggyback on what we were just talking about, he can't.
There's a lot of presumptions there, but yes, he can't for 39 minutes a game. That's for sure.
Well,
I understand that.
We don't know. He says he's losing the team by not playing the best guys. We don't We have no idea.
No, you look for certain sparks and stuff like that. But again, you can see the difference with the way that Pittsburgh plays versus the way that we play sometimes. And again, the aggressiveness and the will. I mean, I saw a perfect example yesterday of Dolzaj making a play on a ball. It kind of blocked or got the ball loose as he was kind of going up for a shot, and the ball came down, and Braswell just stood there and watched, and then let the guy come back, I think it was Tony, and got the rebound and put it right back up. And Braswell was right there. And it's like that's the difference. You see the difference. You can see, other than Guerrier and Dolzaj, then you can see certain plays where players just kind of give up.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
All right, we will be right back after a word from Travis Pastrana and Live CBD. All right, one more time, we're going to hear from the folks over at betonline.net. BetOnline is going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on everything imaginable this season, from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coach and props. BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. Head over to BetOnline today. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR to take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. You got the AFC Championship, the NFC Championship, and the Super Bowl coming up. You've got hockey's in full swing now, and the NBA, wherever the hell that is also doing something. So, thank you, BetOnline.net. All right, let's continue here at let's just say Evan. His name's Evan. He's on Twitter. 2 lousy points from JG3, 0 for 7 from the field, 2 bench points. This team is horrific, lacks leadership and grit as posted above. Coach is a legend, no denying that, but we are Syracuse basketball, and SU shouldn't be associated with mediocre basketball. And, it has been a tough few years. It's been a tough couple years, and then they throw in I say they, I don't know who they is, but then along comes COVID, the COVID stuff, and the quarantining, and the contact tracing, and the this and the that. And here we are dealing with injuries, and, we've got our starting center is out, and, we got our 2 guards are struggling to score. So, yeah, it sucks. 2 bench points. In 18 minutes, Kadari Richmond had 2 points, but he does the little things. Like, I don't mind seeing Kadari out there. I just think he's got to kind of get into his rhythm, in his own offensive rhythm. Basically, he's so good on defense, man. Yeah,
I mean, I think we need him out there, and some teams are going to play him a little bit differently. But he's got to be able to develop into making something happen. Because again, you saw it yesterday with Xavier Johnson just backing down and basically daring him to take the jump shot. And even Coach talked about it, and I talked about it last time about how when teams play defense against you like that, then you can't drive by them. You can't. I mean, it just makes the whole thing difficult, makes offense difficult. It's a 4-on-5 situation for the most part, and that's really, I think, the conundrum that Coach has, because if he could just step up and hit that just mid-range jumper, then I think he'd be playing more minutes than Joe right now. So.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. What do you think about the mediocrity of Syracuse basketball lately? It's been tough since we joined the ACC, really, but compounding that was the loss of scholarships and the sanctions and all of that stuff. And right when the recruiting starts really looking good, and then we get hit by a couple injuries, and then we have COVID to deal with, and it's just
right.
It's just a compilation of just everything sucking. It just sucks. It just sucks. Well, that does not excuse our point guards for shooting like crap, though.
No.
But as far as the depth goes and things like that, I think that...
Well, we haven't been able to create it, right? Mm-hmm. I think that so many times people just kind of don't understand how... I mean, I remember back in the day when we had all of our scholarship guys and we would develop guys. You see certain guys come in and grow, certain guys, they're ready to go as soon as they come in here, but it wasn't a situation where we really needed them to. For the longest time, we only had Sidibe and Chukwu, and for a while we were, kind of on them, but it was really just because of the offensive end, but they did really, really good on defense. It's just, but now we have 3 centers. One's a sophomore, one's a redshirt freshman, and one's a freshman. So 3 years from now, you're going to have 4 guys or 4 centers, 2-3 years from now, where you're going to have that experience, right? You're going to have the other experience in the other areas.
We've got not to forget too that we have Sidibe, Mark, both with extra year eligibility. Possibly both of them could come back next year. So
right,
that's
yeah,
that's huge. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to shove everything this year under the rug and look to next year, but just as far as the depth goes. That's going to help.
Well, Griffin's a sophomore. Gerard's a sophomore. Guerrier's a sophomore. Sidibe's a senior, but he's hurt. Doljai's a senior. He's hurt. Buddy's a junior. Kadari, freshman. Woody Newton, freshman. Jesse Edward. I mean, when you look at it, most of our players don't have 2 years of experience in college basketball.
Yeah.
Now, you take away Braswell, Boeheim, Doljai, and Sidibe. And one of them's hurt and one of them barely plays. So, again, we do have to understand that this is a relatively young team as well.
Yep. At Baptized by Fire 7, I wasn't going to comment because I'm so mad, but I delivered some mail and I feel better. Well, I didn't know that delivering mail could make you feel better because I was quite pissed yesterday. And if I knew all I had to do was deliver some mail to fix that.
It's a service job. Act of service.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. This is the softest Syracuse team I've ever seen. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about grit. More on that later. They are weak, all caps, no muscle. They quit early in the second half. Play scared. Terrible. I happen to.
I mean, you see it.
I happen to agree with that. I mean, prove me wrong, right? Joe,
it's all about what you can see, right?
Yeah, you hit on it in the pregame, or was it the last postgame, or whatever the hell it was? But you hit on that a little bit, and
and they're young again. It comes down to young.
You got a guy losing a tooth, doing everything he can. He's the smallest guy in the court. Doing everything he can. He's getting freaking railroaded every game. This dude breathes on somebody, and they call a foul, like my brother-in-law said to me yesterday. Meanwhile, he's getting grabbed around his neck and yanked to the floor. He's losing teeth, getting elbowed in the face. He's, this guy's the toughest guy on our team. He weighs 180 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean Quincy. But again, it's just it's effort. A lot of it is effort. In basketball, obviously, you do have to obviously get physically strong, but it's not the same as football. But yeah, I just don't see it. I see a bunch of young guys that are still trying to fill out and figure out their body. And again, people are going to be like, well, it's recruiting. That's up to the coach to. And I think that, again, we have to be honest with ourselves and understand that Mike Hopkins was the reason why we got a majority. You probably never going to be able to prove it. And obviously we have the pedigree name as far as Syracuse to go along with it. But it's obvious once he went out to Washington and kind of.
Well, yeah, he recruited over us. He got a recruit over us. He's
got a bunch and he continues to. I mean, he's putting in guys in the NBA every single year, but yet he's not really putting up the wins and losses, so to speak. So,
right. Well, he's building something too. So
yeah. So and everybody sees how Boeheim is, and Boeheim's probably not he probably gets guys and gets recruits because of the name, the school, the pedigree, and his recruiters, right? Preaching family, preaching how we stick together, and all the coaches we played for him, right? And coach went to the school, and so that kind of stuff that sells it. But coach can coach. I just think that we have had issues with recruiting, and obviously he has to sign off on all the recruits as it goes. So the fans, some people don't want to hear the excuses or / reasons. They just want to say, well, if that's going on, it's because of coach or it's because of coaching.
Yeah. Kansas City got away with one here just now, too. I don't know if you're watching that. That was an incomplete pass. At one Kev Nash, these guys are playing as hard as they can. I've tried my best not to be on the bash JG3 train, but I am rapidly losing faith in his ability to turn it around. Absolutely no defense and absolutely no defense and terrible defensive rebounding. Q has been great. JB and staff have to recruit NBA talent. So The the biggest thing I take away from this is because I feel the same way, and that is that I have been very, very patient with Joe, and we've talked a lot about Joe, and I mean I'm getting over talking about Joe, and I said it in the beginning of the show. He has to evolve in some kind of way that makes him more valuable to this team, and the easiest, most obvious thing. And I've said it before, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but is getting to the foul line. If he's not shooting, he's got to be getting to the foul line. He has to be doing something that makes him valuable and a threat. So.
Oh, boy. Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, he got just straight knocked out or what? He can't walk? What the hell is he doing?
Just slammed his head on the concussion protocol.
He is questionable.
Out. You can see in the replay he is out.
Boom. He almost fumbles the ball, too. Lights out.
Did he hit the... Yeah. Uh-oh.
Anyway.
Now, if he doesn't play next week for Buffalo, different story.
Telling you. Buffalo's going to win it all. All right. Sorry about that.
Sorry, guys.
Anyway,
what is serious enough to...
That's what happens when you watch football while you podcast. So
yeah, but...
We do it all the time, though.
Not all the time. We do it in important things. Like, if that guy's gone for, then we're going to have some issues. I don't know if Chad Henne's going to get it done for the Super Bowl.
I don't know if Chad Henne's going to get it done for the today.
No. We shall see. Because it looks like Patty is out.
Yeah, he's out. He's done for today anyway. So anyways, what do you think about Joe? Joe? You agree with what I said? Is it time to be a little tougher on Joe? It is consistency. He is consistent. At this point, he is consistent. He's consistently bad. He's consistently
inconsistent?
No, he's consistently missing shots. Okay, he's very consistent there, missing shots.
No,
it's not like he has an occasional great game because he hasn't had he's had one good game, dude. He played okay against Georgetown. He's mostly not been good.
Right.
That's why I'm saying he's got to evolve now. He's got to do something else.
Right. And I don't know if he took Joe out for Kadari because Horton was hitting threes left and right and went 5 of 10. And he was the only guy hitting something on the other team where he's the only guy you needed to worry about. But if you remember the first Pitt game, Kadari barely played, and we still were speculating some type of injury. But maybe he was just trying to stay warm. But Joe, that game, he shot 3 of 11 or something like that. And coach didn't take him out. And this time he did. And Kadari played 18 minutes to Joe's 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate. And realistically, the problem is that we don't even have a guy those are our two guys that bring the ball up. So that's why we are in the problem and situation that we are, because
we've seen Dole bring the ball up if need be.
It's only him though, right? Yeah. So if Joe's in, we're going to give up a little bit on defense, and there's going to be some inconsistencies, and he might not hit. If Kadari's in, then we're going to play okay defense, but then it's going to take a hit on the offense. So again, when Joe's hitting shots, I think that's where you really see the best of this team. Because now everybody knows how to guard Kadari. And unless he steps up, it's going to be difficult.
Clog the lane, leave him open.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's see. I got to skip a couple because I wanted to get to this one, though. This is it. At G Caesar, Bleed Orange on Twitter. I think I'm saying that wrong. Pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. You could probably most definitely guarantee it. These guys consistently stand around on offense and defense. They should have to pay for a ticket if they're just going to be spectators. Joe, I thought of you. As soon as I read that, I thought of you. Because privately, and if I'm putting you on the spot, I'm sorry, but privately you've mentioned this to me. About...
Yeah. It's personal to me, a little bit. And only because I was a little bit late to the train growing up, right? So, and when basketball came around, I wasn't a good.
You used to be late to the train. You still are late to the train, but you used to be too.
I'm just saying football was my only sport, right? And I wanted to play basketball, and I was competitive, and I played like a football player, and basically effort was my only way in, right? People knew that I wasn't going to be a ball hog. I didn't care if I
scored,
got points.
Yeah.
Yes, it was all about gritty defense, running after the ball like it was a fumble on a football field. Yes, that kind of stuff. So effort's free, man. And like I wish that I could have had the size, the height, the shooting ability of some of these players, because when you throw that effort on top of it, then that's how you make the NBA. That's what makes a great player. And it's just sad that you see some players that have such just great ability, and all they need to do is just give effort.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing
it seems lazy, right?
Yeah, it does. It seems really, really lazy.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. And I just really, really wish that Boeheim would go back to the way it was. Again, I know that the depth's not quite there yet. Hopefully it will in a year or so. But it used to be a day, and I remember a time where you missed an assignment on defense, you were out. You saw it the first in the beginning there with Griffin. Griffin, he allowed a back door and took a bad shot, and he yanked him for Braswell. But then Braswell didn't really play well, missed a shot, and right back to Griffin. So we just don't have those bodies that we used to, because Boeheim, he really used to hold people accountable for defense. And when you lose 3 scholarships, then you have a situation where you kind of got to play who you got to play. You can't recruit everybody you want to recruit, and sometimes you got to just play who you have for offense and for defense, just because you don't have the horses. But it's just difficult, man. It's tough to watch, just people missing assignment after assignment. And we want to bang on Buddy, and we want to bang on Gerard, but down low they got beat too. Bad.
I got crushed.
So many easy shots around the hoop. So
we missed a ton of bunnies.
It's bad.
Tunnies. I'll close with this because I believe that this sums it up. This is my feelings. We suck. Obviously, size and strength inside is an issue. Our guards and big men can't score in the same game. It's either one or the other. Gerard is just horrible on both sides of the court. Boeheim is the streakiest shooter ever. Nothing coming off the bench. Griffin is erratic. Griffin is sometimes erratic, but dude, you can talk about what Joe just talked about with Griffin. Sometimes he does that too. But he scores, man. He got 28 points yesterday. And if anybody has to have a little bit more consistency now, I think that shifts to Griffin. I mean, if we're talking about, because he has really good games, and then he has games where if his offense is bad, his defense is bad. And he had 7 rebounds. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously these comments are right after the game, and a lot of us were upset. I was very pissed off. I want to thank everybody for going ahead and giving us your thoughts, and obviously that's what drives the show, and it's what we try to spend most of our time talking about is your comments. So we appreciate it.
Hey, Griffin's got to stop getting the ball stolen from him.
Yeah, but he didn't have many turnovers yesterday. 3.
No, he had 3, and we only had 5. So...
Okay, touche. Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. But the 5 is good though. Like I'll take 5 if 3 of them come from one guy.
If he could bring the ball up, legitimately, if he could bring the ball up as like a point guard, then I feel like that would be it.
Yeah, because we have the guys Kadari, and you could throw you could throw Kadari where he belongs too, pretty much.
No, I mean it's not necessarily that as much as it's. I mean you have Guerrier, and you can throw a Newton or a Braswell down in the wings, move up Griffin, and you can have Buddy. You can have.
Buddy playing the wing last year worked out pretty good. I mean, it wasn't terrible. He did a pretty good job.
There's different options is all I'm saying.
Well, there's a lot of different options, but we're not seeing them, and that's kind of everybody's frustration. And
that's because I think the results are going to be the same until CDB comes back.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm with you, and that's kind of what it boils down to. But, it's still frustrating, and you still want to see it with your own eyes. And that's all I can say about that. So on to this next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. The 6-6 Hurricanes are travel to the Dome. Miami is 112th in the net, making this a a quad 3 game at home for the Orange. 77th in KenPom rankings. The all-time series sits at 19-9 in favor of Syracuse. The two teams played last year, March 7th. Miami with a 69-65 win in overtime. Girard, Boeheim, Sidibe, Dolezaj, and Hughes were your starters. Dolezaj with 17 points and Sidibe with 10 rebounds. Miami, they've had their struggles so far this season, especially in the ACC, where they are 2-5, but they did beat 16th ranked Louisville last night, 78-72. Sophomore guard Isaiah Wong led all scorers with 30 in that game. He leads the Hurricanes with 17.6 points a game. Senior Nasir Brooks poses a potential problem, standing 7 foot, 240 pounds. Miami pretty guard heavy, got 5 guards averaging double digits pretty much. Got one 9.9 points a game. I'll call it 10. Joe, on paper, Miami does seem pretty bearable on paper. The guard heavy, and you think that might be a little bit better for us, maybe. But the matchup down low, 7 foot, 240 pounds, man, that bothers me.
Yeah. Well, dude, we're lucky that that's all that it is. I'm going to start this by basically talking about some of the guys that they basically lost. This was a senior-laden team that had a lot of guys returning, and a lot of people had them dark horses like a top 2 or 3 in the conference. And, early they lost 7 foot, 250-pound senior Rodney Miller to a knee injury. He only played 2 games. Sam Wardenberg, 6 foot 10, 225-pound senior, had a foot injury. He's out for the season. And senior Chris Likes, 5'7". I know we all remember him.
Yeah.
And
little guy.
Little guy. Yeah. They're saying that they did another MRI. They're saying that they're trying to figure out how he basically injured his left ankle game 2 of the season, and he hasn't been back. And I think they've been trying to work back, and I think he keeps re-injuring it. So I wouldn't expect him to play. And one of their best freshmen that is coming in, Earl Timberlake, 6'6" freshman. He was putting up some good numbers. Got hurt early in the season, came back. Now he's got an abscess under his arm, and he's on antibiotics. So the coaches, they don't know whether or not he's going to be able to play or not. That's kind of a toss-up. And Cameron McGusty is a 6'5" senior who was there last year as well, and he's going to be a game-time decision. He was a game-time decision for the Louisville game, didn't play. Hurt his hamstring game 4, missed 6 of the last 7 games. He probably tried to come back and re-injured it, so he's practicing not playing, so that's where he is. It's basically what he can deal with. But, if the hamstring's not strong enough, then you're going to eventually just continually tweak it. So those 3 guys definitely hurts. But then you see what they did yesterday, and they beat Louisville, and you're like, okay. So
is it an anomaly or was it a one-off? What do you think?
I think
the point guard there, Isaiah Wong. Yeah.
He's a really good player. I saw, even last year you could tell, and he had 30 points last night, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and he actually twisted his ankle late in the game, but he came back, he dunked. They said that he was in the trainer's room after the game, but I'm sure he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he should be good.
But he shot 20 shots yesterday out of the 59. So he took a third of Miami's shots. Realistically, right now with Miami not being full strength, the biggest thing with them is what there's certain things they're really good at, and there's certain things they're really bad at. And that, depending on the team that they play, as far as the matchup, depends on how good they do. So Louisville was just a really good matchup. Looking at Miami, though, really good at blocks and steals. Making it difficult for you to score. Really good at avoiding fouls. They don't really run into a foul trouble too much. And they're really good at defending the inside the arc, 2-point shots, things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which would, again, that's what we're trying to go for, right?
Right.
Their weaknesses, though, is they're one of the worst teams at shooting the 3 and defending the 3. So... And they're not very good at free throws. They turn the ball over a lot, and obviously they got a lot of injuries. So the one big reason why Miami probably beat Louisville was a 6'7", 225-pound freshman, Matt Cross. He came off the bench as a forward, spread it out, and he went 4-6 from the three-point line and also went 4-4 from the free throw line and scored 16 points off the bench. And that was probably what did it in. They shot 40% from the three this last game, 8 out of 20. So even something that they're not that good at, they actually did good against Louisville, and I think that that's why they won. So with us, it's going to be tough. If we don't hit our three this game, then we're going to be hurting turkeys, bro, for sure.
Hurting turkeys? That's a new one.
Whatever. They got height. They don't really got great depth, but they do everything that kind of, if they're going to make us, if they're going to make it difficult for us to shoot twos, and then if we don't hit our threes, then this is a team that we could really, really struggle scoring against.
Yeah, well, that sucks. That sucks. See, the problem with, you say that they're not great at defending the three. Well, I'm watching a lot of open shots just doink. Mm-hmm. And so I don't care if they're bad at defending the three if I'm them, I don't care. It's not a worry to me because Syracuse hasn't been making them.
Right.
And they're at home, but they're not in front of a crowd. So, there's that. But, it's just like what you said, evolve in the game, try to get the ball inside to Quincy and Mark. And if that's going to be a problem, you got 7 foot, 240 pounds in there. That worries me. Now,
yeah, it's going to be tough for Mark.
It is. Now, I'm just at the point where I just want to see. I want to get a win here because it's a gauntlet from here on out, Joe. And not that this is a gimme, but I feel like this is our best chance until we see Boston College again. Got Virginia Tech, UVA, both ranked after Miami. NC State, who is not, I guess they're kind of mediocre, right? Would you say that? Their rankings aren't great. They're not having the best of seasons right now. Then you got two more ranked teams in Louisville and Clemson, and then you play NC State again. That's subject to change, obviously, but it's a gauntlet from here on out, and that's the next 3 weeks of play right there.
No, like I said, I'm going to scream rebounding and defense until the cows come home because that's what the problem is. We can score. We have multiple people that can score, and we can score in different ways. Have we been consistent in certain places? No. The size of their center, I think, can hurt us, but I think that also offers us the one thing that Dolezaj offers us is a non-traditional center where you're going to have a 7-foot guy guarding a guy that could step out and hit a little mid-range jumper, but also get the ball out far and possibly be able to drive by him, get him in foul trouble. I know that they're good at staying out of foul trouble, but if we can get him in foul trouble, then that would be really, really good for.
Yeah.
I know they got a 6'11", 220-pound junior on the bench that can come in and help, but he's not as skilled and active as Brooks. And also, I know they're good at defending the two, but I don't see the guy. I don't see Anthony Walker. I know he's 6'9", 210, but he's a sophomore, and I just don't see him being able to guard Quincy.
Okay.
So that's really the one thing, like we said last week, we got to run our offense through Quincy, and even Marek, if he can do what I just spoke of, and if they can do that and they can force some of these guards to come off of their guys, then that's when we can actually hit our other guys for open threes, because we know Buddy and we know that they can hit them, but we don't know. Obviously, day to day, if they're going to be consistent or not.
Well, they're not. They're not consistent. So they're going to have a good game.
But you never know, right? That's the whole thing. You can show up and Joe can go 6 for 8, and you wouldn't be surprised, right?
Right, and then everybody will love them, including me. And then
it goes back and forth. It's a love-hate relationship, bro. It goes right back. It goes back and forth. So
very much so.
But these guys are actually good. They're tall, even in the guard position, because they start 3 guards and. You're talking about Isaiah Wong, who's 6'3", but he's long. He averages 6 rebounds a game, and he's a long 6'3". And then the other two, guards that start are 6'5", respectively. So if Isaiah Wong's guarding Joe, then that's going to be tough for him. And then the other guys, they got the height to go against Griffin and Buddy. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know Miami, they only went 7 deep. So maybe there's a little bit of they look past us, or there's a little bit of their legs aren't all there come Tuesday. But yeah, we got to be able to take advantage of those situations. We got to be able to go and get the mismatches, and we can't just be hucking threes. So it's going to be tough. We can't be hucking threes, but at the same time, if there's a team, Miami is the second worst team in the ACC in guarding the 3-point line.
At some point, if they don't start falling, you got to change your game plan. Sure, start with that. Let's see how it goes.
It's going to be tough, man. So, I mean, if you really look at it, we got to be able to make our threes, and we got to be able to force them to shoot threes if we're going to want, a shot. Because if they can penetrate the 2-3 zone and get the ball up there, and then all of a sudden they dominate us on the offensive rebounds again, I don't know. And they got 12 offensive rebounds against Louisville. So,
well,
we shall see. But it looks like we're running into a game that unless we fix a little bit of the defense and effort and hit our 3-point shots, then we're heading into a game that's probably going to look pretty similar to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we will see. I remain hopeful. We'll just. Gosh, guys, I don't know what to say. We'll see how it goes.
We try. We try our best. Man.
Either way,
we try our best to walk you off the ledge every single week.
I know.
We really do.
It's been so tough, but we will be here regardless, win or loss. We're in it together. So
yes.
You have that, and we have that. And we thank all of you for listening. Look, I thank Bet Online and Live CBD. Thank all of you again. Share it up. Keep in the fan feedback. We love it. We appreciate it. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.